Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
What is the proof? What is the proof that the Veda is a means of knowledge that is equipped to make me understand who I am? What is the proof? Where is the proof? Before we answer that question, we have to ask one more question. Does a means of knowledge require a proof? That your eyes see. What is the proof? How do I know that your eyes see? Well, you're not stumbling into anything. That is one way. But you know you see, that's all. The proof is in the sight. The proof is in the hearing. And that is how every means of knowledge works. It is a Raja, a king in its own sphere. If the eyes are not working, let's say you've been working late into the night on some important paper or something you've been writing, and then after that you wake up in the morning, the eyes are strained and blurry. So are you going to say, today the eyes are not working very well, so I'm going to bring my phone over here and read my email with my ears? Are you going to say that? No. Why? What the eyes do, the ears cannot. So the ears cannot contradict what the eyes see or don't see. They are not in a position to do that, because each, now we can introduce the Sanskrit word for means of knowledge. What is that? Pramanam. Neuter. So all the ending neuter nouns end in phalam, pramanam. It's a pramana. So means of knowledge. And so the means of knowledge is independent in its own sphere, because it reveals something that nothing else can. We saw that earlier. The three conditions for something to be considered a means of knowledge. What are they? Yeah, you don't even have to say in Sanskrit, say in English. To be a Vedanta teacher, you have to be satisfied with small things. English is fine. Anadhikatam means what? Not accessible by any other means of knowledge. First condition. Second one, it should be relevant, meaningful for my life. It should make my life better. And not just because the Gita says or the Veda says, oh, you need this in your life. It should be genuinely matching what I want in my life, what I crave. Security, satisfaction, reserving a place, not just in the classroom, but also in the hereafter. All this I want. Everybody wants. That's why every religion has some concept of hereafter. In fact, many religions only focus on the hereafter. And so this life becomes like a bus stop, waiting for the hereafter. So, that is Artha Bodhakam. And then, what else? Phalavat. Phalavat means it should deliver. Whatever it says, it should deliver. That is the proof. Delivery is the proof. So then the eyes fulfill these conditions. The ears fulfill these conditions. If you want to see form, shape, color, you can't have anything but the eyes. Only the eyes will make you see all that, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. You cannot make the ears function as the eyes. The ears cannot contradict what the eyes see. Supposing you are listening to some music and you are in doubt, who is the composer, you are in doubt. And then so the eyes cannot say, I think it's Mozart. Eyes cannot say that. Ears only have to say that. So this is what it means. Each pramana is king in its own sphere because it reveals something that any other pramana is incapable of. The second thing about the pramana is that each pramana cannot contradict. In order to be a pramana, it cannot contradict something that is taught by other pramanas. It cannot. So what the eyes see, the ears cannot dispute. What the ears hear, the eyes cannot dispute. And so on. And similarly, if we are accepting the Veda as a pramana, Veda as a pramana means what? It is a pramana just like the eyes and the ears. I stand behind my eyes. That's why I can argue with the person. I saw it with my own eyes. If supposing there is some kind of a collision, unfortunately, between two cars, let's say nobody was hurt, the car got a little dented, the cars got a little dent. Then the police officer comes to take a report. And then what do you say? I was there. I saw with my own eyes that it wasn't the green car at fault, it was the red car that jumped the signal. This is the one that is at fault. How do you know? I saw with my own eyes. I heard with my own ears. There is something which is very revealing when we say my own, these words. My own eyes, my own ears. There is a clue. There is a very interesting clue. Meaning, we have embraced and accepted these pramanas, owned them up. That's why you say my own eyes, because I have owned up this pramana. It's no longer the eyes, it's my eyes. So these are pramanas that belong to me. There is a possessive case. There is a kind of an ownership. I own these pramanas. Why? Because I am the one that operates them. I operate these pramanas, I own them, therefore they are mine. Can you do the same thing with the Veda? Not very easily. Very difficult, at least in the beginning, until this much is understood. And until the fire of the desire to know burns brightly, the Veda will always be somebody else's pramana, not mine. Somebody else's pramana. Maybe it's the Guru's pramana, maybe it is Bhagavan's pramana. Bhagavan has given the Veda, it is Bhagavan's pramana. My own pramana, I'll stick with the eyes, nose, ears, and sight and hearing and all these things. This is the power of the ahankara. Ahankara means I notion, I-ness. That is what ahankara is. The power of the ahankara is so much that it just owns up everything that it operates. I operate this means of knowledge, so of course I will back it up, of course I have confidence in my own eyes. But then what about the Veda? Not so much. Why? Because it is a pramana coming from outside. Outside. Why can't the Veda also come from inside? Why shouldn't it come from inside? Simply because, as one very wonderful author said, a writer said, she was an African American woman writing about freedom and enslavement, etc. Internalized enslavement. And she said, the master's tools can never dismantle the master's house. That's what she said. The master's tools can never dismantle the master's house. So if you want to bring an end to an institution, you cannot use the tools belonging to that institution. Here what is the institution? Samsara is the institution. So the tools crafted by samsara are complicit and cannot participate in its destruction. Simple. Therefore, the tools for freedom, for understanding that I am the whole, I am limitless, I am free, has to come from somewhere other than the clutches of the ahankara. Because, why? The ahankara itself is questionable. In fact, the definition of ahankara in Sanskrit is that which is questionable is ahankara. Vicharam na sahate. Ahankara, the definition of ahankara, vicharam na sahate. Vichara means what? Enquiry. Na sahate does not brook enquiry. You start to inquire into the ahankara and it just goes underground. Who, me? No, I don't even exist. What are you talking about? First you just ask, where are you? Who are you? It just goes away. It goes underground, much like many modern politicians that are under inquiry. There is corruption, not just in India. That's what is reported, but in every country. There is corruption in the levels, at the biggest levels, and then what? Then there is an inquiry, and then the person slowly takes the flight out before they impound the passport. Gone somewhere, left. The ahankara also goes away. It cannot withstand any inquiry. But yet, it poses as that which is the gateway to the body, mind, sense complex, to the buddhi, everything. And it will not allow the knowledge to come through. So that's why we cannot let the ahankara operate this means of knowledge. It will be like letting a cat in the bird house and saying, thank you, Mr. Repairman, the cat. You see, there are little places, they just crumbled. Please, patch up the bird house. Yes, my hourly feed, 2 birds per hour. That's what it's going to say. And this is exactly why the pramana has to come from outside. If it came from within, it would be very, very suspect. It would just be an impossibility. You cannot really have this. So the pramana comes from outside of this body-mind sense complex and handled by a teacher, then the words of the Shastra, the Upanishad, the Bhagavad Gita become alive. Otherwise it is Shabdarashi, dead words. That's why it is not recommended that you read the Upanishads. It's not recommended at all. What will you get when you read the Upanishads? The answer is a headache, a migraine. Then you will wish it was somebody else's grain. Why is it my grain? Then you will lament. You will get a headache. Looks contradictory. Looks just very brief. It's all small sentences, small little cryptic sentences. But we have a parampara. Parampara is a word that is formed of para and apara. Para and avara, both. Para, that which came before, avara, that which comes later, parampara. The student who studied became an acharya and then taught another student who studied, became an acharya, and so on and so on and so on. That is how it is. But then, will the knowledge not get distorted? Just like a childhood telephone game. Telephone game, you know? You whisper something, there are 20 people in the room. You whisper something, mountain, in somebody's ear. And after 20 people have heard it and repeated it, what happens? Something else only is heard. Fountain at the end. How did the mountain become a fountain? Nobody knows. But somewhere there was a distortion. Human error. Truti. Slippage. Is that also not possible? After all, human beings are teaching this. So there could be a absent-minded acharya in the parampara somewhere. Possible. Why is it not possible? An absent-minded acharya saying something and then, or some other, an acharya with too many irons in the fire, too many things to do, busy acharya, and then just saying something. And maybe it is distorted. And that distortion is then relayed further and further. Why not we take it that way? That doesn't happen. No, just because you say it doesn't happen, how come you say it? How come it won't happen? Definitely there is a possibility. There is not. You know why? Because the mountain can become a fountain because we are talking of things other than you. Here what is being relayed is you. And you happen to be the one who needs no proof. If I ask you what is the proof you exist, you will look at me as though I have gone crazy. You will think, first you will look at each other. Did she ask for proof of my existence? Yes, that's what she said. And then you will say, what? Till this morning she was okay, now something has happened. That is the conclusion you will come into. Definitely. And so therefore, the self, the I does not require any proof. If I ask the question, are you here? What's the answer?
Yes.
Some people are not sure. Are you here?
Yes.
Much better. Yes, I am here. You don't need to ask the neighbor, am I here? ask the roommate, am I here or not? I'm having a small doubt, please clear. I owe you one, I'll do something for you. You don't need to ask that. Ahamasmi, I am shouts. It shouts. You require no proof. It's a self-proven existence. That is why we say the I is self-existent, self-effulgent. When I say self-existent, I am seeing the I from the standpoint of subtle existence. When I say self-effulgent, I am seeing it from the standpoint of Chit, Jnanam. This is the truth. If I don't require proof to show proof that I exist, if the self doesn't require proof, it doesn't need to be proven because it is self-proven, then what is the thing? The Shastra that teaches about the self which requires no proof also doesn't need proof. Simple. On a very, very logical level. Doesn't need proof. Why? Because it is talking about something that is already existent and evident. If we think that the Shastra, the Veda is bringing the Atma to light, we would be so wrong. That's a very big mistake. Veda, Shastra, Vedanta does not establish the Atma. Atma is the only thing that doesn't need to be established. It is self-established. Oh, then we can get out of class early because there is nothing more to do, there is nothing more to prove. Not so fast. Little more. Mimamsa. Mimamsa means analysis of me. That's why it is called Mimamsa. Little more Mimamsa is necessary here. So there is nothing to prove. Then what does the Shastra do? I thought it establishes Atma. Atma is Siddha Vastu. Siddha Vastu means what? Self-established, self-proven. All you have to do is ask the question, are you existing or not? That's all. Just like you can never say yes. Supposing somebody asks the question, are you asleep? That question can never be answered by yes, if you are truly asleep. And are you here can never be answered by no. Even if you say no, you are advertising your existence. Then, what is this? Here, the proof is not needed because it proves itself. Then if Shastra does not establish the Atma, what does it actually do? It removes wrong notions which are born in the nursery of Atma Avidya. There is a daycare center called Atma Avidya, run by Mataji Avidya. Okay? What is Avidya? Ignorance. And in that daycare center, feeding bottles are there, and lots of babies are born, and all these babies are cradled and fed all kinds of wrong notions. You are an idiot, one baby who thinks like that. Another fledgling notion. What is the notion? Nobody loves me. How is that even possible? But that's how the conclusion is. I am an idiot. Nobody cares. Nobody loves me. Then somehow I came to the Rishikesh course But then what? All the other people are cleverer than me, cleverer than I am. They know all the answers. I don't know anything. Even when I try to give an answer, it's wrong. So like this, all these babies are born. Mother avidya. Mother is avidya. So if you know these days, everybody likes to go on, what is that called? Ancestry.com. And then you put your surname. Indians have a hard time because in India we don't have surnames. Rarely, maybe in the north a few surnames are there, but in the south there are no surnames. You are just known by the village and the father's name. That's what it is. You don't have surnames. But anyhow, so you put the last name and then you put your, some landmark in your family or some person's name, and then it traces the family tree. Then you feel very happy. Oh. And in the West, this is a very big thing. Going on Ancestry.com and finding out that you were related to some king of Spain somewhere, and then you feel happy. We don't have that. You know why? Because we are drawing our lineage from the rishis. We draw our lineage from the rishis. Bharadvaja, Kashyapa, all these sages. We go back to the sages. But in cultures that don't have that, the Ancestry.com fills that need for some connection to roots. So if we trace the family tree of avidya, what will we get? First we have the matriarch, avidya herself. Avidya has a baby. What is its name? Kama. What is Kama? All kinds of desires. The kind that bite you. The kind that don't let you sleep at night. Those kinds of desires. We are not talking of desires which are just fancies or desires that are in keeping with Bhagavan's wishes. We are not talking of desires that you don't care about fulfilling. Fulfilled, okay. Unfulfilled, also okay. That is not the kind of desire that we are talking about. We are talking about unmanageable desires. We are talking about desires that will just not listen to reason. We are talking about desires that drive one mad. Those kinds of desires are the direct progeny of avidya. Then you give Kama some feeding bottles. He grows big and he has a family. And then, what is the spawn of Kama? What is the child of Kama? Karma. Because these kinds of desires don't let you sit in peace. They make you go to pieces. And so therefore what? Therefore these desires make you act. They force you to act. Prompting Arjuna to ask the question in the 3rd chapter, in the 36th verse. Adha kena prayuktena papam charati purushah anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitah. How come people keep doing wrong things? Even as it were by force. Even though they don't want to do the wrong thing, they keep doing the wrong thing. Oh Krishna, please tell me, how do they do this? Who is that propeller? Who propels them to go against dharma? Who propels them to commit papa? And the Lord Krishna says, Kama esha, Krodha esha, Rajoguna samudbhavah. Mahashano mahapapma vidhi enam vairinam. So this Kama, and when the kama is not fulfilled, what happens? Krodha. Anger comes. The cause of all anger is a thwarted desire. When I don't get my way, I become irate. And so, then kama is the child, karma is the child of kama. Another generation we have come. Karma makes you do all kinds of things. Karma has twins. What are they? Yeah, you can say Raga and Dvesha, and then they have further twins because twins run in families, Papa and Punya. Then if Papa Punya has a baby, then what is that? Punarjanma, rebirth, and this whole cycle continues. This is the hidden nursery of avidya. All these notions are fed bottled milk and then they grow. They grow, they have babies, they feed them the same wrong notions. And all these wrong notions are sitting in the head, crowding out any kind of sense. The wrong notions are nonsense. They don't make sense. Sit in the head, occupy space. Where is the place for Vedanta? Then I say I want to study Vedanta, the head is already full of nonsense. Vedanta is not some new knowledge being drilled into the head. It is something you already know. That is why you have come all the way to study here. It is something you already know. It is a known desire. Because you know why? Because you cannot desire for something unknown. An unknown object you cannot desire. You did not know that there was the latest iteration of something. I watch. I don't know how it works, but I have seen people talking using this watch as a phone. Nowadays everything is mixed up. The watch is a phone, the phone is a camera, sometimes the phone is a flashlight. And the next generation of phones is you press a button, it will give you coffee. This is what it is. And so this whole family tree of Atma Avidya and its broods and its offspring, they have to be eradicated from the head. They have to be given an eviction notice. They have to be told, you are occupying sacred land. This buddhi is for the sacred knowledge of myself as free of samsara, as whole. You are occupying it, you are an illegal occupant. And there is a word for that, squatter. Yes, you are a squatter. And so we have to give them the eviction notice. That which gives these squatters eviction notice is called Vedanta. That which removes all these notions, knock them off. Why is it so difficult to knock off the notions? Because the ahankara is holding on to them. You have to pry it one by one from the hands of the ahankara, slowly, little by little by little. It clutches. These notions are clawing. Wrong notions about the I. When they are gone, you already know who you are. Because who you are is not away from you. You cannot desire for something you don't know. If you desire for the Atma, it is known. Somewhere, somehow, it is known. It's like a musician in a concert. The classical musician in India. I went to see one concert once, and very famous musician. He was having a little bit of a sore throat, but he still sang very well. Much better than one can without a sore throat, he was singing. But then it came to a big high note. He knew he couldn't go there. So he pointed it. It is here, I know this, I have gone here before, but right now I cannot go here. He pointed to that, and everybody understood what he was trying to say. Atma is like that. I know I am not supposed to be sad. Everybody knows this. I know I am not supposed to be fearful. Every single person knows this. I know I am not supposed to be anxious. That's not me. That's why you call a friend and say, I don't feel like myself. What is that self here that you don't feel like? That is Atma. You already know. Why only you? Even pharmaceutical companies know that one is not supposed to feel sad. That's why there are so many antidepressants in the market. They have not studied, the CEO of pharmaceutical companies have not studied Vedanta. They don't know me for Vedanta. They don't know anything. But they know that the human being is supposed to be happy. And if there is an aberration here, to change the chemistry of the brain, to feel more like yourself, please take this pill at the same time every day. That's what they will say. Anti-anxiety medicines. Why? Because the pharmaceutical companies know you are not supposed to feel anxious. That is not you. This is something known. If sorrow were the nature of the self, then we would accept it. Svabhavasya na nivrittihi. There is no freedom from one's nature, one's Swarupa. Sorrow over my Swarupa, sorrow over your Swarupa, then we would be congratulating each other whenever some sad things happened. We would say, congratulations, one more sad thing. And when something happy happened, it would be an aberration. We would console one another. You are such a dharmic being and you had some happy things happen, so sad. That I don't know what even we would say. But that's not what we do. We jump for joy when somebody gets some good news. We commiserate with them. We empathize when somebody is sad. That itself shows the sadness is an aberration. Sadness is an interloper, a masquerader, a thief that has come and is occupying too much space in the head, free of rent, not giving any rent. Because in sleep, what sadness is there? No sadness. In sleep, there is no sadness. Regardless of whether the sleep comes in Vedanta class or outside of Vedanta class. Best sleep comes in Vedanta class, I tell you. And it's not your fault. I'll tell you the story of why it's not your fault. Okay? Sometime I'll tell you. So, whether the sleep comes in class or in the room, it is still delicious, very, very delicious. That's why nobody wants to wake up. That's why everybody wants to go to sleep. This shows some clues as to who I am, I know. And even when I'm not asleep, When I am not being assailed and troubled by some difficult desires, I can be free. I can be accommodative. Somebody cuts in front of me in the lunch line. Normally I would have been upset, but today I say, Jane do, it doesn't matter. Let the person go. Must be very hungry. Let them go. I find myself an accommodative person, a non-judgmental person, a non-critical person. For how long? 3.5 minutes. And this illusory nature of being able to abide in myself is what drives one to come to Vedanta. Because I want to be like this all the time. And the Upanishad says you already are like this all the time. Ajnana nivritti has to take place, and the job of Vedanta as a pramana is the removal of Atma Ajnanam. Is the removal of these notions. When the notion goes, notions are the children. So when the children goes, the mother runs after them. So avidya also goes. Mother says, oh, all these children, where are they going? She also goes. And so therefore what is left is just Satchidananda Atma. So the knowledge is not a knowledge of the object, the knowledge is the knowledge of the subject. The proof is in the seeing. Pujya Swamiji used to give a wonderful example of a person who was blind because of some problem in the eyes and then finally had surgery. Bandages were on. The doctor says surgery is very successful. After a week, the bandages come off. The doctor says, come on, give me happiness, open your eyes. See, what is there to see? The world is so beautiful. And what does this person say? No. First, prove to me that my eyes can see. Then only I will open them. Array, open them. You will see. There is no reason you can't see. Open the eyes, you will see. No, I'm afraid. So, this means one is not letting the pramana operate. Some pramanas you operate. The ahankara operates and owns it up as its own. This pramana, which happens to be in the form of the words of the Veda that are designed to remove ignorance, the teacher has to operate. You cannot operate. Even if you wanted to, you cannot operate. Just like if a person needs an operation to remove a tumor, what do they have to do? Buy a scalpel, correct? And some anesthesia. No, they have to go to a surgeon. You have to go to the surgeon. And then what happens? You Google the surgeon. You want to find the best one. You Google the surgeon, you find out they are the best, east or west, and then you get hold of them. Yes, they have an opening next week. Yes. The person is very happy, I can get operated. And then in the most helpless situation, lying on the stretcher in a gurney, being wheeled to the operating room, somebody comes and says, I'm Dr. So-and-so, I'm your anesthesiologist. What is your name? What is your weight? That's the only time nobody lies about the weight. Okay? And then, I am your anesthesiologist. And then I will make you count backwards, and then the surgery will be done in no time. The person who was the patient was not prepared for this. Who is this anesthesiologist? I haven't googled her. I don't know who she is. I don't know who he is. Total stranger. What am I going to do? But it's too late. And then what does the anesthesiologist say? Please sign here on the dotted line. What am I signing? Anesthesia is considered safe. You will come back. In case you don't want the hospital to be liable, just sign here. You have no other option. You sign. Because you want the tumor gone badly. You sign it. And then what? Then you are in the recovery room. When you come to, you don't even know how much time has elapsed. You think the surgery is still yet to be done and you are so relieved. Oh, the whole tumor is gone. You are free. The operation was successful. But supposing you were awake, let's say they found some kind of a very strong local anesthetic, but you were awake. What would you do? You would interfere in the operation. The doctor will pick up the scalpel and then you will say, that looks rather big. Are you sure you don't want to use the next size smaller? Then the doctor performs an incision and then you would say, I think the tumor is little lower. I think you're cutting too high. In fact, I think the anesthesia helps the doctors also, not just you. They are relieved that you cannot direct this operation because you don't know how. You just have the symptoms. There is pain, there is a feeling of something there that doesn't belong, there is a feeling that it needs to go. That's all you know. You go to the expert and then what? Then you submit to the operation. This is called Sharanagati. This is called surrender. Surrender is not to a person. Surrender is to the means, the validity of the means of knowledge. Surrender is not to some individual. Surrender is always to the pramana. And then what? Then the operation takes place. This the ancients knew very well. This is there in the second stanza of the Guru Stotra. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Salutations, surrender unto that Guru. Who is this Guru? The Guru is a doctor. An eye surgeon actually, who removed the cataracts of ignorance with the scalpel of knowledge from the eyes of this Timirandha. Timirandha means the one that was afflicted by cataracts. Cataracts means you cannot see properly. You don't see half the things properly. Everything is shadowy and distorted. This distorted vision of myself, the Jiva, of the Jagat, the universe, and even of Ishvara, the Lord, has to be corrected. And that correction is possible if you submit to that correction. The correction of the notion, the correction of this wrong misapprehension of the self, the world, and God, Ishvara. That misapprehension should go. Then the vision is no longer distorted. The world is, and how you see it is exactly how it is. Before the operation of the pramana, I see the world according to my own filters. Raga, Dvesha filters. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, filters. These are the filters through which I see the world. That's why I feel like it is out to get me. Even Bhagavan is out to get me. This is how the Sri Rudram begins. Namaste Rudramanyave. Namaste, O Lord, to your anger. Even the Lord is angry in my perception. The Lord seems to be angry because why? I am only getting all this karma phala. I am getting these results. And the Lord is like a hunter. I am the bait. I am the target of this hunting. It's almost like I have a red dot behind my back and the arrow keeps on. The Lord is keeping on following me with the arrow and the bow. Where did she go? Where did he go? Like this. So therefore I say Namaha. Namaha to your arms that are holding the bow. Namaha to the bow. Namaha to the arrow that is strung, ready to strike me. Why don't you go for the neighbor instead? Very adharmic person, one can say. Namaha to the quiver. Why is it called quiver? Because quiver means that basket which holds the arrows is called quiver. Here it is called quiver because it makes me quiver through fear. Namaha to all of them. This is the jiva who doesn't know, who is looking at everything in a distorted way. And the Veda goes along with it, and we find this prayer very soothing in the beginning. And later it takes you to a completely different realm of oneness towards the end of it. It's just an amazing prayer. Beautiful. And so like this, one submits to this operation. The extent to which one can submit to the operation is the extent of success of the teaching. If one is not ready to submit, then you can have the best teacher in the whole world or in all the three worlds. You can have Lord Brahmaji come and sit and teach. Still the knowledge will not sit in the heart. Still the heart lotus will not blossom. Therefore, there is the need to submit to the pramana. And the pramana and the teacher, the acharya, the guru, are a package deal. Like if you take a tour bus in certain other places, some other countries, then the tour guide comes along. You say, no, I don't want the tour guide. I just want a bus ride. No, the tour guide will come along. It is a package deal. So the Guru is a tour guide of the Veda, of Vedanta, who maps out the journey, who charts the journey. In the Viveka Chudamani, when the student approaches the teacher for knowledge, the student says, Durvara samsara davagni taptam dodhuyamanam duradrishtavadaihi bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityoho. Like this he says, I have been shaken about repeatedly by the hot winds of ill fortune, bad fortune, and heated up by the sun of samsara. I am troubled, I am uncomfortable, I am in great distress. Please help me, save me from this death, this everyday death of not knowing myself, the everyday death of considering myself finite. That is the death. Free me from that death. And the teacher responds, Ma bhaishta. No, do not be afraid. Asti upayaha. There is a remedy. For what? To get out of this samsara conflagration, there is definitely a remedy. And then what is the remedy? I'll show you the remedy. And the teacher doesn't say, I am known for my inventions and discoveries. I'm very famous. Google me and find out. And then I will craft you a new way. No. The teacher says, Yena margena, by which road all of us have walked. Myself who was made to walk on this road by my Guru. My Guru who was made to walk on this road by his Guru. My Guru's Guru who was made to walk on this road by her Guru, by his Guru, by her Guru, by his Guru, all the way to Bhagavan. That same well-worn path, I have Tadeva Marga, that Marga alone, Tava Nirdishami, Tubhyam Nirdishami. I will show you that. I will show you that Marga through which countless of people in the lineage have walked. I will lead you through that. Why? Because you are never lost. Always there will be some footsteps. Always there will be some footsteps. You are never lost because it is well tried, well worn, and if the Guru gained knowledge, if the Guru's Guru gained knowledge, if the Guru's Guru gained knowledge, there is nothing to be afraid of. Why do we need a new path? We don't need a new path. When the tried, tested route is already here, why look for a new path? I want it apne aap. Nothing will happen apne aap. Apne aap means all by myself. You've heard of the Kumbh Mela, right? Yeah. In how to put it in English? The Orange Festival. Okay. Everything is in orange. Everybody is in orange. Sadhu festivals at certain astrological points when the Guru is in Simha Rashi or aspected by that in certain ways, Ardha Kumbh Mela, all these things, they were fair. And in fact, the UNESCO sent its people to find out how come this city comes up like this. In a matter of days, everything, plumbing, everything, tents, everything comes up. And there is no stampeding when millions of people are taking bath on the same day at the same time, everybody comes out alive. How is this possible? UNESCO sent a team to study this. It's like a heritage. And so anyhow, in this Kumbh Mela, everybody, all the sadhus have a tent. And the younger sadhus go and pay respects to the older sadhus. They visit them. And then there is a lot of visiting back and forth happening. So when you go to visit another sadhu, they are least bothered about your name. You don't have to tell them your name. They don't care. You don't have to give them tips on how to pronounce it. They don't care. They just ask one question, what is your lineage? आपका गुरु स्थान कहाँ है?